She ran barefoot through the darkness. Behind her, church bells. Ahead of her, freedom or death. In medieval Europe, once you became a nun, you were supposed to stay forever. No escape. No second chances. But one night, a woman in a black veil made a choice that shocked the church. She ran. And what happened next terrified religious authorities so much. They tried to erase her story from history. Stay with me, because this actually happened. To us today, becoming a nun sounds like a spiritual calling. But in the Middle Ages, for many girls, it wasn't a choice. Families sent daughters to convents to avoid paying dowries, protect family honor, hide scandals. Some girls were as young as 12. Once inside, the gates closed. Letters were censored, visitors controlled, and obedience was absolute. If you disobeyed, you were locked in isolation, starved, or publicly shamed before the entire convent. The church called it discipline. The women living it called it a prison. Her name appears only briefly in medieval records. No portrait, no grave, just a warning written in ink. She entered the convent young, too young to understand what forever meant. At first, she obeyed. She prayed. She worked. She endured. But years passed, and something inside her began to break. She watched the seasons change through barred windows, while her life stayed frozen. And one night, she made a decision that would change everything. She would leave. Escaping a convent wasn't like running away from home. It was a crime against God. She waited for night prayers to end, for footsteps to fade, for silence. Then she moved. She slipped through a storage door left unlatched, climbed over rough stone walls, tore her habit on iron spikes. When the bells rang at dawn, her bed was empty. The abbess panicked. Because a runaway nun wasn't just a scandal. She was proof that obedience had failed. The church reacted immediately. Letters were sent to nearby towns. Priests were warned. Orders were given. Anyone helping her would be punished. Some runaway nuns were dragged back in chains. Others disappeared. But some, like her, vanished completely. She became a ghost story whispered among convent walls. A warning, or a symbol of hope. Why would someone risk eternal damnation? Because freedom mattered more than fear. Runaway nuns didn't want luxury. They wanted choice, love, control over their own lives. Some married. Some lived under false names. Some joined hidden communities of women. They proved something dangerous, that even in the Middle Ages, women resisted, and the church couldn't fully stop them. Most escape stories were buried, destroyed, edited, forgotten, but fragments survived. In court records, punishment lists, angry sermons. Enough to tell us this. The Middle Ages were not silent, and nuns were not always obedient. Some chose rebellion, and history is only now beginning to hear them again. Somewhere, she lived free. No veil, no walls, no silence. And every time a convent bell rang in the distance, it reminded the church of what it could never fully control, the human desire to choose.